I asked ChatGPT, what percentage of the men worldwide do I fall under? So I started describing myself. I'm 22 years old, I'm a man, I'm 5'7", I weigh 160 pounds, I have a visible six-pack, and then I went on to list some of my physical achievements. I can bench 250 pounds, which is 1.5 times my body weight. I can do 20 consecutive clean pull-ups. I can do at least 75 straight push-ups. I can do weighted dips with 135 pounds. I can do muscle ups. I can hold a dragon flag. I ran a marathon. I trained Muay Thai for 2 years and I've started training MMA now so I can fight. So after listing all of these, I asked what percentage of the world do I fall under? And it told me that I am in the top 0.5% of men worldwide. Reason why I'm saying this is not to brag at all, but it's because I wasn't always who I am now. I didn't always have these achievements. I didn't always look like I do now. Actually, this is what I looked like 3 years ago. I had none of these achievements. I weighed 120 pounds. I was nobody, right? I fell easily in the top 50% of men. But I went from the top 50 to the top 0.5% in just over 3 years. In this video, I'm going to break down what is required to be in the top 0.5% of men. Some of the stuff I'm going to say is going to be a bit controversial. It's not going to be the most popular advice out there, but results speak for themselves. This is what worked for me. Obviously, plenty of things go into being in the top 0.5%, but the three key parts I'm going to talk about today are the look, so how to look in the top 0.5%, the physical capacity, so the achievements required to have, and the third step is going to be the mindset and the psychology behind it. We'll get into that. That's an interesting one that you probably haven't even thought about. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first part, the look. Now the look, I break it down into two parts. All right, so there's the training, which is obviously building the muscle and all of that. And then there's the nutrition, which is going to help with how you look, how you feel, looking shredded, obviously building muscle as well, feeling good so that you can keep up the workouts and all of that. So let's start with the training portion. Okay, the training portion being in the top 0.5%, as you can see, I am not a bodybuilder and I do not want to be a bodybuilder. I aim to look like Brad Pitt and Troy, not Arnold. One of the key things to that look, obviously it's the look that women find attractive, is the V-taper. The V-taper, put simply, is when you have a wider shoulders than your waist. If you want a mathematic figure, it's roughly 1.6 times the ratio of your waist to your shoulders. The main, obviously, you need to train all your body parts. You need to build muscle all around. But the two main muscles that are really going to help with this look is the side delts and your lats, so that they give you that width of your back and the rounded shoulders. That's what gives you the V-taper look. So it's very important that you really focus on this. Do your pull-ups, do your weighted pull-ups, your lateral raises, your machine lateral raises, your chest supported lateral raises. Spam those. Okay, it's super key to getting that V-taper. Next part of the training, obviously next point I want to hit on is that you should be hitting every muscle twice a week. That's what I did and it worked for me. You should be hitting every muscle twice a week so that way you can actually grow. The third part of the training portion, which is, like I said, one of my achievements, is that I have a visible six-pack. The third part of that is going to be to have the abs. So I'm going to explain real quick how your abs work, because a lot of people want a six-pack, but then, yes, I'm not going to lie, 90% of it is your body fat. You need to be lean enough. But the other 10% is to actually train and grow and strengthen your abs. It's a muscle like any other. You can train it like any other. You can make them grow. You can make it bigger. The function of your abs is to bend your spine. What that means is your spine bends in two ways. Okay, it bends from your chest to your knees and from your knees to your chest, so the opposite. What that means is that you need to train your abs in both ways. A lot of people are just doing sit-ups, only sit-ups, spamming sit-ups, circuits of 15 exercises, I don't know what, and the max they have is a 4-pack. That's because if all you're doing is bringing your chest to your knees, then yeah, you're training the top 4 abs, but the bottom 2, those aren't getting trained when you're doing sit-ups. when you're doing weighted cable crunches. Reason why I'm bringing this up is so that you make sure all you need for a visible six-pack training-wise is going to be 2 exercises. One that brings your chest to your knees. That's going to be your sit-ups and your weighted cable crunches. My personal favorite is the weighted cable crunch because you can really feel the contraction. You can push it till failure without needing to do 30, 40 reps. And you can progressive overload. The second part of training your abs is going to be the lower 2. Those are when you're bringing your knees to your chest because your spine is bending the other way. My favorites for that are going to be the leg raises, back supported leg raises or hanging leg raises, knee raises if you can't do leg raises. But it's super important that you really feel the contraction and not just swing up your legs. A lot of people do them and they feel them in the hips. That's because if, let's say this is your body, okay, this is your upper body, this is your lower body. If all you do is this, then it's just your hip and your hip flexors working, your lower abs aren't getting worked at all. In order to train your lower abs and to feel them, you need to actually bend your spine. Okay, so if this is it, you need to go like that. You need to, when you're doing it, think about throwing your ass up, okay, not just your legs. Do those 2 exercises, that's all you need. That is literally all I do, and I have a visible six-pack. That's all you need. Do those 2, progressive overload, train them until failure, treat them like any other muscle, and you're going to start building them. Fourth part of the training to look like you're in the top 0.5% is going to be 10K steps daily minimum. Reason for that is because when you walk 10K steps daily, really helps to just stay lean year round, maintain fat loss year round. You're just going to be burning calories, burning fat without even realizing it. So you need to be hitting at least 10K steps. And then the last part of the training is going to be the body weight exercises. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now and not in the physical portion is because, look, I'm going to talk about it again, but it's very important that you keep body weight exercises in your daily regimen because push-ups, pull-ups, dips, sit-ups, muscle-ups, all of those, they work more than one muscle at a time. So what that's going to do is it's really going to help your body stay proportionate and aesthetic. That's what's going to keep you from becoming Arnold and going more towards Brad Pitt. It's going to be those proportions, those aesthetics. When you're doing pull-ups, your biceps are growing, your core is getting stronger, your lats are growing, your upper back is growing, everything is growing. Rather than when you're doing, let's say, single arm lat pull downs, the only part that's working is your lat. Make sense? Perfect. Second part of the look is going to be your nutrition. There's going to be a couple points to hit on. I'm going to go through them fast because I don't want to make this a 30-minute video. So make sure you keep up. First, protein. Everyone says, you've heard it 3,000 times, 1 gram per pound of body weight. What I'm going to tell you is up that. Not 1 gram, 1.2 or 1.3. For example, I weigh 160. I eat at least 200 grams of protein a day. I'll get into exactly why, but one of the big things you need to realize is that protein is awesome. When you're eating eggs, red meat, like meats, that's like ancestral food. That's primal. It's going to make you feel the best. It's not going to make you lethargic. It keeps your cognitive functions clear. Your mind is clear. You can actually focus on the work. Your muscles get fed. You can get stronger, get leaner, and get the work done. Second part, and this is super important, a whole food diet. You need a whole food diet. What that means is you only eat whole foods. Put simply, if you don't know what it is, tell yourself these 3 phrases. Whole food, whatever you're about to eat, ask yourself these 3. A, if you can't catch it, grow it, or kill it, don't eat it. 2, if it didn't exist 200 years ago, don't eat it. And 3, if it has more than 3 ingredients, don't eat it. That being said, what my diet is, I literally eat only this. Meat, mostly red meat, but obviously chicken as well. Eggs, Greek yogurt, fruits, honey, potatoes, and I drink black coffee. That's it. That's literally everything I eat. Sometimes I'll have maybe a bit of white rice instead of the potatoes, but that's it. No bullshit sauces, no processed food, none of that bullshit, none of that estrogenic stuff, okay? If you want to be in the top 0.5%, Obviously, you gotta look like it, you gotta feel like it, you wanna be strong like you're in the top 0.5%. I said eggs and red meat, but let me go over that again. I eat 10 eggs daily, and I highly recommend you do it because it's gonna do amazing things for your testosterone. Why? Let me explain why. Eggs are the most nutrient-dense food on earth. Your immune system is gonna be awesome. Every time I eat 10 eggs a day, I feel awesome. My energy is always through the roof. I'm sleeping well, recovering well, building muscle, getting stronger. I feel my testosterone higher, and I never get sick. When I'm not eating 10 eggs, I'm a lot more prone to getting sick, getting the flu, and whatnot. Red meat and eggs, they are literally the two most nutrient-dense food on earth, but especially for men, they're filled with zinc, magnesium, iron, stuff that it's the micronutrients that your body needs to build cholesterol, to build testosterone. Okay, so eat it. 10 eggs and red meat daily. Fourth part and last part of the nutrition is going to be to stay hydrated. What that means is at minimum 3 liters of water daily. Your body needs to stay hydrated. It's going to help you burn fat a lot more. It's going to help you perform better because obviously it's water. You need hydration. And 3, it clears up your skin, stops water retention. You're not going to be as bloated. You're going to just look better and feel better. So just stay hydrated. That's the look portion done of how to look like you're in the top 0.5%. So let's get into the second part, this physical capacity. I'm going to break down every single one of my achievements and I'm going to tell you how to achieve them. First up, the bench. How I benched 250 pounds and I weigh only 160 pounds. Okay? Honestly, it wasn't as hard as you would think. Reason for that is because on every single one of these achievements, a big key thing you need to understand here is I wasn't trying to achieve all of them at once. When I first started in the gym, I just wanted to bench 225 pounds. That was like a benchmark for me. Obviously 2 plates, that's like impressive. You're already getting to the like advanced gym bro level. So that was my goal. I hit that within a year and a half or 2 years when I first started the gym. So I hit 225 when I weighed like 150. But then I just kept upping it because I was at a point where I wanted just to get my bench up. If that's all you want, if you want your bench to go up, this is what you need to do. Bench twice a week on your chest days. Start your workout with the flat bench. Do 2 or 3 sets of 5 to 7 reps. If you can hit 7 with a weight, then up the weight and go to 4 or 5. It's going to be very similar to more like powerlifting, where you're going for less reps, but more strength. Because benching but if you want to build muscle, you shouldn't be benching. The reason why we're benching is to build that strength. Because dumbbell presses actually don't correlate as well to bench pressing. Fun fact, you can try it for yourself. So you couldn't be like, I've seen people, the regular regimen is dumbbell pressing and then they go to the bench, they haven't benched in a year, they can't hit 2 plates. That's because bench pressing isn't just your chest, it's that full pushing strength. That's what you're training. But then again, it's not ideal for hypertrophy. The stretch isn't that great. The range of motion isn't the best. The squeeze isn't the best. So pick one. What I used to do is I wanted hypertrophy and I wanted to get my bench up. So I would start off my chest days with benching. Once that's done, I would go into my actual workout, my chest day workout, which was incline bench, flies, pec decks, and all of that. Okay? But if you want your bench to go up, you just need to be benching. Simple. Second, weighted dips. Just like everything else, progressive overload. First, I started with just my body weight. When I could do 15 reps with my body weight, I upped it and I started adding weight. First, it was a 5-pound dumbbell, then 10, 20, then 1 plate, then 2 plates. And then as I went up, now look, don't get me wrong, I can't do, like I said, I can do weighted dips with 3 plates, that's 135 pounds. Don't get me wrong, I can't do a full set, like 6 to 8 reps. But I can do 2. But the way I worked up to that was just by progressive overloading. Same thing as any other muscle. But it's very important that you just keep doing it. You might not be able to, maybe now you can't even do 15 reps with your body weight. But keep doing dips, and slowly but surely you'll see that number go up. Third, muscle ups. This is actually a little funny because obviously muscle ups are cool and I always thought like, oh my god, that's insane. You need an insane amount of power and all that. But what's funny is I actually from the moment I started actually trying to get a muscle up to when I got my first one, it was 2 weeks. And that is because if you can do the minimum requirements, honestly, this is full honesty talking, if you can do 10 clean pull-ups, clean, what that means is you fully go up and you fully go down. Okay, not you stop this, no. You fully go down, you let your scapula retract. If you can do 10 clean pull-ups and you can do 10 clean bodyweight dips, you have the strength to do a muscle up. All it is the technique after that. What I did is I could do my pull-ups and dips, but I just could never get that muscle up. I watched some videos, asked, I saw someone doing it in the gym, asked him for a little bit of advice. And what I used to do for those 2 weeks straight, I used to go, and before I started my workout, I used to try a muscle up. Okay, perfecting my technique, and then one day I just got it. And what I realized when I got it is that muscle up is a lot more about technique than power. Because once I got my first muscle up, literally I got a second one and a third one after that. Because it's a lot more technique than strength. And anyone who does muscle ups or is able to do muscle ups will tell you that. Once you figure out the technique, it's a lot easier than you think. So for muscle ups, you just need to focus on the technique, watch YouTube videos, watch tutorials. It's not as hard as you might think, but you do need that basic strength. Fourth, my marathon. Yes, I ran a marathon a year and a half ago. It was fall 2024. And look, I've always been athletic. I played soccer growing up. I still do. I played soccer growing up, but I was never that much of a runner. There was like one summer where I did a little bit of running. Like I ran 2 or 3 10Ks, but that was about it. I wasn't consistent with it at all. So I wouldn't say that, okay, like I was always a runner. But what's funny is with my marathon is I was at work. It was me, my brother in the car, and 2 other of our friends. And we were driving home. It was like an hour drive. And I saw that one of my childhood friends, he posted on a story that, he's going to be running the Montreal Marathon. So I said, okay, that's interesting. I asked him, yo, when is it? He said, in a month from now. I said, okay. Instantly, I pulled up ChatGPT. I said, how long does it take for a non-runner to train for a marathon and be ready to run? It said 12 to 16 weeks, so 3 to 4 months. And I remember, I sat there and I looked at my brother. I was like, oh, well, I guess I have a month. And I just started training the next day. That first week, I ran 2 5Ks, a 7K, and a 10K. Third week, I ran a couple 5Ks, a 10K, and a 15K. Third week, kind of the same. I ran a half marathon with one of my good friends in Toronto. I went there, was there for the weekend. We ran a half marathon together. And because he agreed to sign up for the marathon with me. The difference is, though, he was actually a runner. He still runs. He does half marathons kind of yearly. But for me, it was the first experience. And then I did that, and then I just kept on with the training, and then after a month, on the day of the marathon, I did it. I completed my marathon with 1 month of training. Next up, fighting. Fighting is super important, and it's actually one of the main things that puts me in the top 0.5% because, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in the third part, which is going to be the mindset and the psychology behind it. But fighting is super important because as a man, you need to be able to protect. You need to be able to fight. It's just something that's very innate masculine and that you need to learn. You need to be able to defend yourself. And that's what I realized. 3 years ago when I was skinny and whatnot, what actually pushed me to start going to Muay Thai was that I was with a friend at the time and we were just in the car. There was a small incident with someone else on the road and I suffered the consequences. In the sense that I had absolutely nothing to do with it, by the way. But obviously, your friend's mistake is your mistake. So I literally suffered the consequences for my friend's mistake. I got punched in the face. And I felt powerless. There was nothing I could do. Or that's what I felt. So the next day, I went home and I signed up to start going to Muay Thai. It was something that I had subconsciously been avoiding for a little bit, but I just started going. And what's funny again is, the first week I went to 2 classes, 2 1-hour classes. I really loved it. Second week I went 3. After the third week I was going to Muay Thai for 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. I was just training. That's all I would do. I would go to work, after work go there, train Muay Thai for 2 hours, spar on Fridays and just repeat. And I did this for a good 3 months. And then after that, some things got in the way. I was still going, not 5 times a week because My schedule got a lot busier, but I was still training. After training Muay Thai for about a year and a half, 2 years, I recently transitioned into MMA. And that's just because, I want to learn a bit of jiu-jitsu, a bit of grappling, kind of want to learn really mixed martial arts and not just Muay Thai. But it's super important that you learn how to fight. Next, Dragon Flag. Honestly, I'm not going to go too long about this because you can train it, but you just need core strength. Some tips I'd give you is I say do planks so that you can build up that core strength. And then just try it, because honestly, it's not as hard as you might think. If you can brace your core properly and you're light enough, it's going to be a lot harder if you're fat. But if you're in shape, you're lean, and your core is strong, you're actually strong, like your relative strength is good enough, you can hold a Dragon Flag. You can look up tutorials if you want, but honestly, it's not that hard. Next up, like I said, weighted pull-ups is super important. I can do 20 pull-ups, and that's just because that I mentioned already. Like I can do pull-ups, I can do a lot of push-ups, and that's because I have always kept those in the center of my regimen. I already explained why. But another big thing that really helped me, get weighted pull-ups and weighted push-ups up, but also just get my number of pull-ups and push-ups up, was doing them consistently. There was a point where I was working out insanely. Okay, in another video I'll go about the why and everything, but there was a point that I was working out 30 hours a week, and that's not even an exaggeration. I used to literally go to the gym 4 days a week, play soccer twice a week, Muay Thai 5 times a week, run every other day, and I used to do 2 calisthenics workouts every week. What those calisthenics workouts is literally this. I used to start the workout and say, okay, today I am going to do X amount of push-ups and X amount of pull-ups. Let's go. And the workout wasn't over until I did them. So let's say it would be, today I'm going to do 500 push-ups and 250 pull-ups. That's it. So I would just do sets of maybe 10 sets of 50 with 10 sets of 25 pull-ups, or obviously I couldn't do 25 at the time. So it was just that. And I did that until eventually I got up to a point where I did the Murph Challenge. If you don't know, the Murph Challenge is when you do a 1 mile run, you do 300 pull-ups, you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats, and then another 1 mile run. All of this in under an hour while wearing a 20-pound vest, a 20-pound weighted vest. I also did that. And obviously, look, I didn't just do it like this, but as I trained, I was able to get the hang of it, and I got stronger and stronger. Now, that's kind of the physical achievements. I tried to break down as much as I could, like how to actually get those achievements. But the main thing, the main part of what makes me in the top 0.5% is this. It is that, look, a lot of people, not a lot, okay, but just because you bench 225 doesn't mean you're in the top 0.5%. Just because you can fight doesn't mean you're in the top 0.5%. Just because you can do weighted dips with 135 pounds doesn't mean that. Just because you can do muscle ups, Dragon Flags, you can run a marathon. Just because you can bench 250 pounds, right? None of these alone mean, just because you have a visible six-pack, none of these alone mean that you're in the top 0.5%. What really makes me elite, what makes me part of the top 0.5%, is that I have all of these at the same time. It is the combination of all of these. It is the fact that I can bench 1.5 times my body weight, while at the same time being lean enough to have a visible six-pack. At the same time, I know how to fight. At the same time, I can do some calisthenic skills. At the same time, I can do a marathon. It is the fact that I can do all of these at the same time. That's what makes me more than the top 1%. That is what makes me in the top 0.5%. And one of the key things that it comes to this is that you will realize if you actually try that, one, just trust the process. Like I said, when I got all of these achievements now, yes, but when I first started, A, I had no idea that I would be able to do all of these. B, I didn't even want to do, these weren't even in my mind. When I first started getting in shape, training, my goal was never to have all of these achievements that 3 years from now I'm going to have run a marathon and XXXXX. No, I started one thing at a time. When I first started in the gym, yes, I wanted to get in shape, put on weight and whatnot. But my main 2 physical achievements that I used to aim for were being able to do a muscle up and bench 225. I exceeded them both. Why? Because I just stuck to the process, just kept doing what I was supposed to. And as you can see, once you check off one goal, and you will come up with another and another and another. What's important is that you don't kill that ambitious part of you. You stay ambitious. Your goals might seem delusional, but you should go after them. Be a man, be ambitious, have delusional goals, and work your ass off to achieve them. If you do, nothing else will stand in your way. Obviously, throughout all of this, you probably realize that having willpower and discipline is a must. I wouldn't have any of the achievements that I do today if I didn't have a strong willpower and a good discipline. I ran a marathon with a month of training, when literally ChatGPT told me that you need 3 to 4 months. I defied the odds, right? I benched 1.5 times my body weight. I did dips with 3 plates. I did Muay Thai for 2 years. All of these, it is because the workouts that I said, like, I am not exaggerating. I used to literally be, okay, you know what? Mom, Dad, I'm going to go work out. Today's workout is 700 push-ups with 300 pull-ups. Let's go. That's it. And like, that's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But the main part of it is willpower. You will realize that your body can handle a lot more than your mind. Your mind will always quit before your body. David Goggins says this. If you haven't read Cat Hurt Me, read it. I highly recommend it. It's going to absolutely change the way you view willpower and discipline. But you are capable of a lot more than you think. If you really set your mind to it, you can get in the top 0.5% just like me, brother. But what's even crazier is that there's the top 0.1%. There's the top 0.001%. And there's levels. There's always something that you can be better at. You know, it's like the American Psycho guy. It's like Christian Bale says in American Psycho. You can always be fitter, be thinner, be healthier. There is always room for improvement. And that's the beautifully haunting thing, is that you will always have newer goals. There are always going to be new things to strive for. As much as today's society tries to kill that part of us as men, you cannot let it. Become the man that you want to be. Be delusional, be ambitious, insanely ambitious, but work your ass off to fulfill that ambition. That's kind of what I had for you in this video today. I wanted to share with you the standards of being a top 0.5% man, and what it takes to actually get there. Some of the mindsets, some of the qualities that you need, some of the traits that you need to develop, some of the achievements that make me one of that, so that, you know, this wasn't just clickbait, right? I have all the achievements. I didn't just clickbait you into, oh, this guy's top 0.5%. I actually am. The statistics say so. And the reason for that, again, is because of the combination. Yes, it's good to be the best at any one of things. But if you really want to be that top level guy, you need to have everything. Excel in all realms, not just one. Not just be able, oh yeah, I can bench 225, but you're a fat fuck. Then who cares? Not just have a six-pack, but you can't fight. Who cares? Not just run a marathon, but you don't look aesthetic or muscular at all. Who cares? As a man, your goal should be to have all of them. And I am living proof that you can. And I'm only 22. I still have a lot more to achieve, and I am excited for it. I'm excited for the work that it comes with. But I know, yes, I still have delusional goals, but I have the ambition and the willpower and the discipline to fulfill it. And I will develop any trait or skill necessary to fulfill my goals. Hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you gained something out of it. I'll put my Instagram in the description. Follow me on there. DM me, coach, if you want one-on-one coaching from me directly. Leave a comment, DM me on Instagram. I'll try my best to respond. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Keep your chin up.